Hi guys, I'm Ro.
I'm Danielle.
And this is Heart to Hold. We are coming to you from the future. The video that we posted, we was outdoors and there was a lot of wind. So we're doing another intro and we'll just tack it onto that video. There is a little wind in the video, but we felt like the message was a great message and we didn't want to lose the authenticity of the message. So just bear with us with the wind of the video and just hopefully you'll still enjoy the video, okay? All right, see you in the future. Bye. Okay, so we're gonna talk about our transition to Hawaii and like what took place there from us getting settled and all of that. So whenever Danielle got her new station, she let me know what it was gonna be and then asked me if I would come along with her. And then I said yes to go along to the new station.
It just wasn't no yes. And after that, she had to think about it.
I mean,
so
of course.
It's been like it was like a month or something. So don't make it seem like it's like, oh yes, I'll go with you. No, you had to talk to your friends. You had to talk to all of these different people.
No, I just talked to the one friend at work and was like, "What do you think about this?" Blah blah. Because nobody else really knew, but her. But I mean, I had to think it over before I just decide. Like I had to leave my job, leave my family, everything that I knew. I had only flown one time, and that was with her mom when she graduated in Oklahoma. So this was a big deal just to leave everything and go around the world with somebody that, you know, we just started talking really right before she left. So it was a big thing to decide. So yeah, I'm going to take some time. You don't think I would need to take a little bit of time for that?
I mean, I don't know. You know what they say about them lesbians, child. They in a relationship for 1 week, and then the next week they done moved in.
That ain't how it works. But yeah, so whenever she got out of boot camp and stuff, we moved to Hawaii, which neither one of us knew like what we was getting into, how, you know, things would work with don't ask, don't tell. Like we didn't know nothing really. So we just went and was like, okay, we'll just figure it out when we get there. So we got there. It was just like such a different experience because I don't know, it was just different being there. How you felt was different. Like you feel like things are more, I guess, grounded and like flatter here, you know, in North Carolina, South Carolina. And then when you get to Hawaii, it just felt like so round and so much water and stuff. So I just think for that, it was a shock just getting there and then figuring out how things was with finding a place to stay was hard. Because it's not like apartments and stuff here where you just go into an office, you ask about an apartment, you see it, you move in. It's not like that. Every apartment was owned by someone different, so you would have to go to each apartment building and they would have like different like cards and stuff up for the different people who own the different apartments, and you have to contact all of those people yourself. And then after you got the apartment, then it was different stuff you had to add on, like parking, or it was just different than here. So we really didn't know what we was in for when we got there. And we was living in a hotel for like 2 months, if not longer.
The reason why we were staying in this hotel was for so long is because when I got my papers to say where I was going, they told me, hey, all right, get in contact with this individual a couple weeks or so prior to you know, flying out there so we can greet you, have accommodations already set up for you, blah, blah, blah. All right, so it's time. And I called people, hey, you know, send them an email like, hey, I'm going to be coming out there pretty soon. And I gave them my itinerary, the dates, and all of this stuff. child. We got out there. They didn't even know who I was, and I had to fish through my emails real quick to try to figure out who it was that I was speaking to. So I had to call them. Try they didn't even meet me at the airport to come and pick me up. I was like, what kind of mess is this? So that was like a bad thing in itself. And then it was like, oh, okay, yeah. So we're not really ready for you. So we'll have you go to this hotel for a little bit, blah, blah, blah. And we was like, okay, child, we get there. We thinking that it's just going to be like for a few days just until they get our stuff together.
Right.
Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months.
Yeah.
And it was just so frustrating.
It was crazy. And then not to mention that she was still married. So they was also
Asking like, okay, so when's your husband gonna come? And this and that.
Yeah.
So then when they seen me, they was like, okay,
okay, so who's this? How long is she gonna be here? And so it was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of like not knowing exactly what we can tell them and what we couldn't. Like,
so we was just quiet about everything. We was like, we don't know none of these people. We don't trust nobody. Don't tell nobody nothing.
I was like, oh yeah, she's just my friend. She just coming to help me get settled.
Right, yeah.
Because it's a new place, so I put her up in a place, and like if I had to go to the berries, I didn't know if I had to go to the berries or anything like that. In my mind, I'm thinking like I don't have to, because I knew that if you're married, you didn't have to go on there.
Right.
And then at what point did my niece go?
Whenever she came, it was like a year. So once we finally got settled from all of this, finding a place and being in a hotel for so long and trying to brush over why I was there, and then them wanting her husband to come. At one point, they was like wanting him to show up there, and so we had to talk because then he was like, okay, well, should I send for him and then come
just to show his face and leave. Like, I don't know. And it was just so complicated because, okay, we're here. We're just now getting to know each other.
but now we gotta figure out if we're gonna fly her husband out. Or, I don't know. It was just hard.
Yeah, it was crazy because I had to call him and be like, okay, this is what I need you to do. I might have to send out for you, so
Right.
so I can get this place on face, blah blah blah.
And of course, since you heard the rest of the story, you know he was ready.
Right. But that came to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. I don't know what was it.
I think they just died down on asking for him. And then we found the place and all of that, so we really didn't need him. So it was like, oh, thank God for that.
Oh yeah, because I think I just showed like my marriage certificate or something like that.
Yeah.
Saying that I was, was still married and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just complicated. And then Danielle went to work every day. I quit my job, left everything, moved there. So every day when she was going to work, I was like hunting for jobs and stuff like that. Like, what am I going to do over here?
I told her she didn't have to work though.
I know, but that's not who I am. Just to be somewhere for free.
Yeah, I understand, but you didn't have. There was no rush.
Right. But for me, it was because I was like,
you want your own money.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, we're off to a good start, but we're still getting to know each other. So what if something goes bad
and I'm here with no money? You know what I mean? Like, even though I felt like that wouldn't happen, I still wanted to have my own source of income and money, just in case something went wrong and now I'm just not straight in this place or whatever. So I ended up getting a job there, working in a lab, and it was a hard adjustment just because I don't know, the culture shock and being around different people and them really not accepting me because like, okay, the jokes they told us that it wasn't funny to me, and then my sense of humor wasn't funny to them. I was the only Black person there. Most of them was from Hawaii. It was maybe 3 people that wasn't from Hawaii. And then I had to catch the bus. Like, just, I don't know. Everything was just hard for me.
Because we had a car there yet?
No, not really.
so Danielle was on the military base, so I had to figure out how to live like in regular society, like catch the bus, work. You know what I'm saying? Like on a military base, you have different people from everywhere, so it's not as hard to connect and stuff like that because you have some people might be from North Carolina, South Carolina, whereas working in the lab there, most of the people was from there or had family there or been there a long time. So how they handle things and how I handle things was totally different. Like I'm really like, okay, let's get this done, and they're island life, laid back, like nothing. We don't have nothing to rush for. We'll do it tomorrow, and I don't know. That was just frustrating to me because that's not part of my personality. On top of not really clicking with the people like that because my personality is not like theirs, and things they wanted to do is not things I wanted to do. So I don't know. It was hard for a while, but I did make some friends at work or associates who I could talk to and stuff like that, while we was there. Once I got to know you. Yeah.
To see you for the first time, it's that face that you have. Like, you're going to cut your face, something like that.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know, you don't look approachable in the very beginning.
But I'm always nice. Like, if somebody talk to me, they'll know, like, oh, okay, she nice. This is how she naturally.
Yeah.
And most of the time, when I first get somewhere, I have that face of you can't leave me alone until I get, like, accustomed to the area and stuff and learn my job and all of that. And then I kind of come out of my shell once I see who everybody is. Like, I usually observe how people are, what they're about before I start talking to people. Because you learn, like, oh, okay, this one is the liar. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? You learn all those things you observe before you start talking to people.
Yeah.
So that's how I go about things. But then so after that, we found an apartment. Danielle had her workstation and stuff like that. And then, so about 8 months to a year in, once we was there, then we had the opportunity to take care of her niece.
Why is it like that, yo?
Which was another lesson for us, just because I have always, in my heart, been a teacher and loved kids and all of that, but I had only met her like once, I think. And then Danielle, even though it was her niece, I only met her like twice, I think. Yeah. So even though it was a family member, it was still almost like fostering a kid that you didn't know. So we said yes to her coming to stay with us, and she came, but we really didn't know, like, her background or how it was going to be when she got there. And so we came and picked her up, right? I think we came and picked her up.
Yeah, we traveled back to the States.
Yeah. So we came and picked her up. She went back with us. And then when we got there, it was just like, I don't know, it was just the hardest learning experience because she wasn't used to structure. She wasn't used to someone really caring for her and making sure she has the right foods and, like lessons and study the right things and stuff like that. So the first year that she was there, we got her, she had just turned 4. And I think the first year she was there was just really trying to find peace for her, like trying to get her used to a schedule, get her calm during the day, because I would have lessons with her every day, but she would cry all day long because she wasn't used to sitting down, she wasn't used to learning, she wasn't used to like feeding schedules and things like that.
She came from a very hectic background
where she just done whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
And so, but she had to learn all of this stuff before she went to kindergarten. So every day I was trying to teach her like ABCs, everything she needed to know, which tapped into my, the education part of myself or teacher part of myself. But I just wasn't ready for like her temperament or crying every day and how to deal with that. So I think in that taught me more about spirituality because I had to tap into, okay, Lord, I don't know what to do here. So can you help me and show me, what to do to give her some kind of peace and let her know that we're here to love her and take care of her. So we would pray, we would meditate, like all kind of stuff just to get her to a point where she was okay with the schedule that we would have every day. And eventually she did come around to it. It just took a long time and a lot of patience for where she was at. And, every day we had to start from scratch. Like, okay, this is a new day. Yeah, you cried for 3 hours yesterday. Let's try to make it 2 today. You know what I'm saying? And then every day it just got better and better. And then so I was home with her in the daytime, and then Danielle went to work and stuff. So
that was a doozy. I tell you, because when we first got her, like, she coming in there like she paid bills there. She came in, opening up the refrigerator, popping during sodas. I'm like, what's happening here? And we was in the back room doing, putting her stuff up or whatever the case is. We come back in, she got a popsicle in her hand. And then when I walked in, I'm like, what you doing? She jumped, and then she threw the little popsicle up underneath the chair like I had to see what she was doing. So that girl there, she was a handful, boy. I mean, but like Yolanda said, the process, it really, I don't know, I felt like I really learned a lot because I didn't have much patience, like when it comes to kids and all of that kind of stuff. My brother and sister, there's an 8-year gap. I'm the oldest, and I mean, some stuff I can relate to with them, but not really with what they got going on. So I just kind of, even though we were still within the same household, it's like I was growing up on my own in a sense because they're 8 years younger than me. I mean, what we gonna be talking about? But yeah, she's taught us a whole lot. Like she would always come in, hey Auntie, I love you. Like every 5 minutes, I'm like,
right,
girl, you just came over here to give me a darn hug. You coming back? So, and I think that maybe that is where I get all the affection, hugging on Raw all the time. Now, or if I see her family, I'll hug them because you're like, we don't do hugs. What you hugging? Why are you doing all of this hugging and all of that kind of stuff? And I'm just like, well, that's just me. I mean, I didn't come into a family to where that, I had all of the affection and people saying I love you and all this other kind of stuff. It's just like, oh, okay, you good?
Right.
All right, I'll provide for you. That's my way of me showing love for you. But growing up as a kid, like you want to have that type of affection and stuff like that. So I think that some of the things that I've endured with my parents kind of maybe was the reason why I had such anger issues growing up. But, dealing with her, having her, Yolanda here, and then my little niece at the time, man, I got a lesson real quick. 2 lessons. One to have to deal with the patients, and another lesson, I don't want no kids.
Right, yeah. I think it was all, I don't know. I think we both came from environments. Like, I felt love as a kid, but we didn't really say I love you a lot or do a lot of hugging and stuff like that. We just showed our love kind of like joking and playing around. So I think for both of us, like, us, first of all, getting together and really taking the time to learn each other. And it wasn't like, past relationships with other people, but we really cared about how the other person felt was one lesson, because then we had to work on ourselves. Like, in order for us to be the best in this relationship, we had to work on ourselves and what childhood issues and things like that. Because as a kid, I would just hold everything in because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And so then when me and Danielle would have conflict, she would always be like, "What is wrong with you?" And I wouldn't say nothing because I would just shut down because I wasn't used to talking about my feelings. And then on the other hand, when she asks like, "What's wrong with you?" and I didn't say nothing, it would make her angry because then it's like, okay, it must be me, or like internalizing me not saying anything, but it was a issue with myself and not really with her, but she didn't understand that. So it's almost like we had a mirror up reflecting what we both needed to work on. You know what I mean? You would take something?
Yeah. I mean, shoot. I would be getting pissed. I'm like, I was just like, you think that I can read your mind, but I can't unless you tell. We're fresh in this relationship.
Yeah.
And so if I'm doing something that hurts you or, upsets you, pisses you off or whatever like that, and I'm asking you, what is it? And then you just be like, oh, it's nothing. And then an hour or so later, I don't like when you did this to me. Like,
well, before it took longer than an hour.
Right, yeah. Before it was like days.
It was, yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, I understand that I've done this and it hurts your feelings or whatever like that, but you have to tell me this stuff in the moment. Like, how else am I supposed to learn you or understand how to, I wouldn't say like cater to you, but just kind of like, I'm supposed to know my partner,
right?
Without
be sensitive to
yeah. And you're a very sensitive person, so anything is like
about some things. I'm sensitive
about some things, other things.
Yes.
About my feelings, I'm sensitive about
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just saying, day to day, I'm not just like a
Oh,
flower.
yeah, no, I couldn't do nobody like that. Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think it was a learning experience for both of us because I don't like aggression or anger. So even if I would see that in her, then I wouldn't want to say how I felt because I didn't want it to like escalate or her to get more angry because I just don't like that. Like she'll tell you like I don't like certain things, like don't holler at me, I don't like those things.
Yo, let me tell y'all, she ain't like this. Something would happen and I'll just get frustrated. I'm like, girl, what? Or something crazy like that. And then she just busts out in the home. Like
now I do.
Well,
now I just go
pay a little attention.
Yeah, she'll just look at me and just start laughing, or she'll just go off to herself in the kitchen and start humming and doing other stuff. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's what we doing now?
Because now we know each other to a point where we don't really even argue about that. We do have disagreements, but
I don't even think we argued then. It was just more of us trying to
know each other. Yeah, right. But it was just like how angry you would get. I didn't like that. Like, or know how to take it, should I say?
Yeah.
Not that you meant any harm by it, but that's how you handle things, and my way of handling things is to just go inward. Like, I'm not saying it, you be like, what happened? How you feel? I'd be like, I don't know. Nothing. I'm good. Because I didn't know.
Well, you helped me a lot with the anger. Yeah. I mean, because it helped me to understand.
Right.
And then with that, it helped me to figure out, okay, why would I get upset with this?
Yeah.
It just helped me, like you say, internalize things. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
It took a lot of patience. Because we also talked about, okay, how can I express myself? So I would start like writing her letters and stuff of how she gave me time to be by myself instead of like keep asking me. And then I'm like, just give me time and then I'll write it to you because I don't really know how to verbally express how I feel. And then after I get that out, then I'm able to talk about it openly. And so for a long time, I would, like, she'll do something and I'll get quiet. She'll be like, okay, this is it. So she'll just leave me alone. And then I'll write it all down to her or either text it to her or email it to her. We got emails and texts and all 15 years ago.
So I was seeing them during long texts come through. I'm like, oh Lord,
Here we go.
I hated it.
So I would send them to her, and then she'll read it.
And then she'll come in there where I'm at, and then I'll be like, explain what's on, why I said that or why I felt the way I felt, and then we'll talk it out that way. And then after a while, I just didn't need to write the letters no more because I just like, I don't like that. Or start talking about it more and more each time. So we didn't really need the letters.
But the good thing is how I think that all, parents should be, whether they're foster, adoptive, caregivers, takers, whatever, that, you shouldn't have those type of arguments in front of your kids.
Yeah.
And even though we had disagreements or whatever like that in front of my niece, child, every day was a sunshine day for her because we didn't bring that, that toxic environment. She had already came from a toxic environment, and I just wasn't about to have added more stress onto her. And so I was like, So that's one thing.
Yeah. I think that by the time she came, we had worked out the getting to know each other part and, could communicate better. And we had kind of the same idea of how we wanted to raise a kid or, those things. So whenever we had anything come up with our niece, we really was never really on two separate sides of the fence. I would always come to her and be like, okay, this happened. What should we do about it? Or she would come to me and say, this happened. What should we do about it? And then we'll talk about it and then solve it that way. So together, united front. Yeah, and I'm very particular about how you take care of kids, how you handle kids. You know what I'm saying? All those things. Because I know how much of a lasting impression it can make on them and, their future and stuff like that. So I'm just really particular about that. And she knows that about me. I don't know, but I think we work really good with her in that. So I think how she was saying, I feel like our whole journey has not only been a emotional, physical, relationship journey, but the whole journey has also been a spiritual journey too. Just because us getting together, it took, I don't know, it took a special sensitivity to learn each other, you know what I mean? And both of us came from different environments and things like that. So to just, meet each other right before you went to boot camp and then leave together and move to Hawaii and not really know each other that well. It was really a hard learning experience when we got together. But it was so many things on the outside we had to deal with till it helped us with our relationship inwardly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because all of the military stuff and taking care of her needs and just life stuff that came up so fast for us, within that first year, all of the stuff we had to deal with just set us up for just 15 years later. Because I don't know, I feel like we dealt with so much stuff now. It's something come up, we're okay. It doesn't bother us, I think, how it would bother other people, because our first year had so many things in it and so many twists and turns in it that other people didn't have, I guess. Yeah. And then when Kiki came, it was another level to our spirituality that we had to tap into, because now here's a little human being that you have to not only provide for, but also nurture and make sure that they're safe. And so what she came with in her little spirit, you know what I'm saying? And the hugs and the I love yous every day and stuff like that, I think it also helped the little girls in us to know that love and to say those things and the hug and stuff was okay. Yeah. Just because that wasn't the way we grew up. But then when she came with it, it was
at first it was like torture to us because it was like, oh, now how many more times we gotta say this? I love you. Like we had little meetings in the room. Like she done said I love you. I know at least 100 times a day. What are we gonna do about this? And then so we would be like, girl, right. At first it was like, girl, okay, you done said it. And then we got used to it. So it was just like, yeah, love you too. Love you too. So it was just like all day long, reprogramming ourselves to say, I love you, a hug. Yeah. And so then it would be like a whole family hug where she'll get in and we all hugging. And I don't know. So I think, spiritually.
Work on us. And she didn't even know it. We didn't know it neither until, look back at it and be like, that little girl there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we was helping her, but in certain areas,
she was also helping us to open up and be more loving and more free and understand. The whole scheme of things, God has us all in His hands and takes care of all of us. Like we're taking care of her. God is also taking care of us and everyone else. So I think it was such a big spiritual awakening, spiritual time for us. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even deciding to be together was also, I don't know about for you, but it was also like a spiritual time for me, just because I had to figure out for myself what kind of person does this make me in Christ? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they say same-sex couples should be together or different things like that, okay, now I'm confronted with having these feelings for someone else that's of the same sex. What does that mean for my Christianity and, how I grew up? So I think it allowed me to kind of break down what I've learned from other people, like the church Christianity part of it, and to switch from that to a relationship with my Creator, and to know that our Creator is love. That's what He's, He, she, Father, Mother, God is about love, above all else, love. So if I have this beautiful soul who is here to love me unconditionally, no matter what my outsides look like, or anything that I'm going through, hard times or good times, she's still there. How can I deny this connection that we have? But I don't think it was something that was overnight for me, because it took me a while of praying and talking to God and like, okay, what does this mean for me? And everything that I've seen in my future, does this change everything? Does this make me no longer a Christian or no longer your child? Or, just all those questions. Yeah. And I got my answers for that, as in, I'm loved anyway. You know what I mean? Like, a parent doesn't stop loving their kid because or shouldn't stop loving their kid because they choose a different path or go, move out of town or don't go to college or do go to college. You should still have that unconditional love for them. So our Creator has that same love for us, no matter what. And I think it drew me into more of a relationship. Like, what I'm saying? I don't know. I think church makes me feel like, I'm about to go in. I think church.
Y'all, she got her hands going. It's a wrap. I'll take a seat.
I think church makes you feel like the Creator is so far from you and is always looking to judge you. You know what I mean? And that's not the case at all. You are part of the creation. You're part of the Creator. You have the Creator within. Right? So how can there be that divide, such a divide there? And I think it makes you scared more than, cared for and loved, and that's not the way it should be. So I think in me and Danielle meeting, it was twofold for me, as in I met someone who truly loves me and who's truly here for me. And I know that without a doubt and don't have to question it. But also, it also changed my relationship with God and how I see things too. You know, and my path of what I'm supposed to do in life also.
Yeah. That's good.
So, what you think? Or how did you
feel spiritually like when we met, or when you start thinking about a relationship with a woman or whatever, how did you feel
spiritually about that?
In the beginning, it was like a conflict because you were taught that man is supposed to be with a woman, and it's not all the same sex and all this other kind of stuff. And so it was a constant battle because I knew what I was attracted to, but to have in the next in the other ear what the Christians have to say, like, oh, that's wrong. He's supposed to do that, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And if you have years of hearing that, and so when you do have these feelings that comes up, just do whatever you need to do to try to suppress it. But when you keep having these feelings and the beast just want to come out.
Not the beast.
You just taming it, and it's just something that just happens, and you just want to just go after it, go for it. And I mean, why should you punish yourself when you know in your heart who you're supposed to be with is standing right there in front of you? So why would you give that up? Yeah. And so I just had to, like you say, dig deep and try to really understand who God is for myself, because you're not really going to know or have that relationship with Him by word of mouth or what other people are feeding into you. Yeah. You have to be able to, experience that for yourself. Yeah. And then until you get that relationship, and until you get that relationship, with God or however you see Him or it, the universe, mother, I don't know, however you see it, then you're gonna always be a battle. Yeah. Because you're going or leaning on what other people are feeding you and not what you are experiencing on your own. Yeah. So that's what I just had to kind of do. Like, man, forget what everybody else saying. What I want to be able to experience it on my own, because what you telling me, okay, yeah, that's for you, but I want to get the relationship and the understanding for myself. Yeah. And once that happened, then it just was smooth sailing. I didn't have no bad feeling like, I'm not supposed to be with this girl, but I really love her and all this. Like, I just got that relationship with on my own, and I didn't have to worry about that anymore.
Right, yeah. And I think it's also a calling for us to show what life people can live in a same-sex relationship. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to choose whether to be a Christian or to be in a same-sex relationship. I don't feel. And I see a lot of hurt in the LGBTQIA community just because they feel like, okay, well, since I like the same sex and I'm going to hell anyway, why not just go all the way and do all of these other things? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm y'all already told me this is where I'm going, so I'm just not going to be a good person since I love the same sex, and that's not true. You know what I mean? You don't have to choose one or the other. And I think if people knew that, then it'll be more peace within themselves, because sometimes you see people and you can see the battle that they're having on the inside because they feel like there's no hope for them. You know what I'm saying? And mental health and depression is real. And those are things that they
battle with so deeply. And I wish they could have the peace of knowing that God loves your soul. You know what I mean? Who you are deep in the inside. He's your creator. He created all of us. So what my grandma said is God knew what you're in from the beginning. He knows all about you. So in this life that we're living, there is a purpose for us. There are people out there that needs to see not only a same-sex healthy couple, but just a healthy couple in general, to know that they can also have that. You don't have to settle for an unhealthy relationship or someone treating you in a bad way or like you're not supposed to be treated just because you feel like there's nothing else left. You know what I mean? Like, there are good people out here who can and will love you unconditionally, as long as you start to love yourself that way. I feel like the more you love yourself unconditionally and learn who you are and get that connection with your creator, where you can have that silent conversation to yourself, continuously. Like, you don't just have to pray at 9 o'clock at night, like before you go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a conversation all day long. Like I'm talking to Danielle. This is my conversation with my creator all day. When you have those conversations with your higher self and your creator, then you won't allow yourself to settle for less than what you're worth. You know what I mean? And then that's how you build a relationship where you yourself know who God is to you and who you are to him. So people can't sway you in a way that where you're unsure of that. I think a lot of times we're unsure because we don't have that relationship ourselves, with our creator, where you can go to him and say, okay, this is how I'm feeling about this situation. And you hear a message from him to you and not through other people where the relationship, where the message is tainted or how they feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's good.
You did that.
Yeah. Thanks. I don't know. I think a lot about the community that we're in. You know what I'm saying? I haven't always been in this community, but I think when I was faced with being with Danielle and then being on this side of things and seeing how harshly, people in the community is treated, not just outside the community, but in the community, depending on whether they're male, female, or, what I'm saying, just so many factors that where you get discriminated on by others or talked down on, different things like that. It started to open my eyes to a lot of things. And in life, God leads a lot of people to places that's not the cleanest. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, like, in life in general, say people that are on drugs and things like that, you may have a person in there that has the background or the seed from church that was led down that road. We don't know why they're led down that road, but while they're in that situation, they're also given messages that other people on drugs would not get from anywhere else. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to explain that. All situations are different, but I'm saying in all situations, there has to be someone there that gives you another perspective to where it opens your eyes to see things a little different. Right. And I think we're all called to different areas of life to do those things. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a truck driver, okay, there may be a lot of truck drivers on the road who maybe don't know Christ, but they send you to the truck stop to speak to those people. And I think that's one thing that I got from my grandma growing up, because she would go to places that people would deem as unclean, and she didn't mind going there and actually talking and having a heartfelt conversation with people, not judging them. So she taught me to also do the same thing. Like, don't judge a book by its cover anywhere that you go, because you don't know what all people have been through or what they need at that time, but just show up a willing vessel to help those people out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's good. I don't know. I don't know where that, it just led to that place.
Hey, look, that message was so fun. So, whoever needed to hear that in that moment, I hope that you receive that message, that heartfelt message.
Yeah. So we will get to the next part. We didn't finish talking about. Did we finish talking about our Hawaii experience?
I mean, for the most part,
Okay. Yeah. So we'll tap into a new topic next time. Maybe add some more, information about our journey and stuff. But if you have any questions or any topics you want us to talk about, just send it to us, and then on our next video we can talk about that as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much. We love you, and see you on the next one. Bye.